Welcome. In front of me is a OPPO Reno6, and today I'll show you a couple tweaks and tricks you can do on this phone. So I'm gonna start off with the 90 Hz refresh rate, which by default for some reason it's turned off. But to find it and change it, you can navigate into your settings, then go to the display and brightness, scroll down to more, and you will find right here screen refresh rate, and you want to change it to high. By default, like I said, it's set to standard, so you have the typical 60. So make sure you go for this one, and you have a decent kind of visual difference of how it varies between 60 and 90, though this is way exaggerated. Obviously your screen doesn't look like that when you're scrolling up and down. So imagine this being 60 and then 90 being even better than the difference that you see right here. And in other words, when you're scrolling up and down, the screen will look way smoother than it does because it's displaying more images, like still frames, in between the scroll. So basically the way it works is 60 Hertz gives you 60 specific slides, basically when you're scrolling up and down in a single second. And 90 obviously gives you 90 instead of 60, so you have more slides in that single second, displaying you more of the content in between, making the scrolling animation just look so much more smooth. And this extends to basically applications as well. If you have some kind of videos that are in a higher refresh rate, they will also utilize that, though to be honest, movies and stuff like that rarely even come close to 60, so don't expect much. But if you, for instance, recording something, or if someone recorded it at 120, you can obviously watch it at 90 Hertz, and it will look smoother than basically every other footage that you have seen. And moving on to the next option, it's going to be the screen color mode and also screen color temperature. So both of the sections right here and under the display and brightness. So I'm going to start with the screen color mode, which includes the gentle, weirdly named option. By default, obviously it's vivid, and I personally don't like vivid. It's sometimes just way too overdone, like it is right here. So something like gentle, which is more accurate to and true to life. It will look less saturated and a little bit more toned down, but also it is sRGB accurate apparently. I'm not sure how accurate. I don't have any way to check it, but hey, they're saying it that it is. And additionally, you can also change the color temperature from cool, default, or warm. So you can have more like a yellowish or bluish tint, or somewhere in between. So I'm gonna stick for the rest of the video with this one, which is something like right now gives me vibe of like True Tone from iOS right now. And moving on to the next option, it is one that I won't be able to really show you how this will work, but it does give some benefit. So it's the expandable RAM. I guess that's probably the best way to name it. Now by default this device comes with what, like 4 or 6 gigabytes of RAM? Let me quickly check. Oh no, it's actually 8. So we have 8 gigabytes of RAM, although I believe there's also alternative with less, so keep that in mind. And when you go in here, as you can see under the settings, about phone, and then click on RAM, you have this RAM expansion, which allows you to basically dedicate X amount of your storage, just the physical storage, which is like on this phone, I believe 128 gigs. As an example, you can dedicate 5 gigabytes of that to be also your RAM, expanding it further past the 8 gigabytes. Now, obviously, because this is the RAM at that point will be based partially also on your storage. Storage will be way slower of an alternative than actual like default RAM. So any application that would be utilizing that extra RAM won't basically run as quick as an example if you had the same amount of RAM, just straight up only RAM. But still, if you need more of it, this is a great way to get it. And OPPO and Realme are, I believe, like one of the couple companies that do it. I mean, OPPO and Realme are basically the same company, or they're owned by the same company, so they're just different subsidiaries. That's why you have these options on both of them. But yeah, nice feature. Even if you don't get to use it that often, or you don't even know when it's being used, it's still nice to dedicate some storage, and when the phone needs it, it has access to it. So moving on to the next option, it's going to be the desktop mode. Now, have you ever seen things like, for instance, the Huawei's do have desktop mode built into them. So when you plug in something like this, a Type-C to HDMI, you can plug it into your monitor and have just a virtually full screen kind of desktop mode. It will look and act kind of like a computer would normally. But Samsung and Huawei are like the two ones that I know from the top of my head that actually have this. Majority of the other phones didn't really bother with it, but luckily Google itself decided to dabble into these options, and they are including it in, well, as a hidden feature because it's not refined yet. It's not really ready to be used as it is, for instance, on Samsung's or Huawei's. But still, if you're one of those people that wants to check it out, maybe you have some kind of way of just trying to utilize this in some way, you are free to do so. It still works in some way. And to get it enabled, you will need to go up again into About Phone in your settings. Then you're going to select version and you want to select build number. Tap on that 7 times. It will basically stop you with the lock screen if you have one. So I need to confirm my lock pattern. There we go. And it will give you the message that you are now a developer. And once you go back to settings, navigate to additional settings, select developer options, and this will show you all the developer options right here. Now, I do warn you, I wouldn't recommend you flipping things on and off randomly in here just because it might mess up your device. As an example, if you, for instance, enable OEM unlocking, it will basically tell you to restore your or reset your device, or automatically does it. So you might not want to do that as an example. But there are other things like, for instance, animation speeds in here that you can find that you can utilize, and obviously the desktop mode, which I was saying. So to find the desktop mode, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list and then scroll just a little bit up, and we should find, yep, there we go, force desktop mode. And all you need to do is enable this one, and you can also enable things like force activities to be resizable, which will allow you to resize windows once you are in the desktop mode and you open some application. Now, like I mentioned before, you will need a dongle for this. I do have one that has HDMI, dual USBs, and SD card readers, so that's one. And just as an example, I'm not gonna plug this with an HDMI just because I have no way of showing you the screen that is like off the camera. But what I can show is, as an example, utilization of something like a mouse. So this is for my wireless mouse right here. I'm gonna plug it in. So I'm gonna now connect it to the phone. There we go. And hello, mouse. I know you're working, or you should be working. That's weird. Okay, this is the first time I have had this problem. Well, just to kind of showcase this, how it's supposed to work. I know it works for a fact on Reno6 Pro because I did this just a second ago. Oh, there we go. So it is working for me on here, as you can see. Not sure why it's not wanting to show up here. Let's try it maybe once again. Please, come on. Yep, okay, so something, I don't know. Something works weirdly. It should be working without any kind of problem, but for some reason, as you can see, it's working or not working at all. Maybe just because I don't enable this desktop mode. But anyway, whatever the case may be, we can just move on past this to a next option, which is the swipe down on home screen for, well, for me it's going to be for notification panel. Now when you normally slide down, it opens this search bar, which I personally don't like, so what I prefer to have is the notification shade, but as you can see, you have to pull straight from the top to actually get it. So to change this, if you're one of those people that prefer to have notifications, all you need to do is go into the settings. Then we're going to navigate to home screen and lock screen and so on, and choose swipe down on home screen, notification drawer, and now voila, we get our notification shades instead. And last thing that I wanted to show you is just a simple gesture navigation. Now I don't recall how it sets it up by default, if it asks us which one we want to pick or if it just gives us one and tells us deal with it. But anyway, if you want to change it at any moment to one or the other gestures or physical buttons, you can navigate into your settings. From here we're gonna scroll down to convenience tools, select navigation, and you have the choice between two, the gestures and navigation buttons. So choose whichever one tickles your pickle better. Now anyway, this will conclude all the tweaks and tricks that I want to show you, and if you found this very helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.